whipping out apers, no condiments. From Barranquilla, no argument. She going hard like a gallo. Don't care what they say, hell if I know. I'm chilling with babe with my eyes closed. Got the champagne with my blindfolds. I'm on your flight in Miami, chopping and dripping with Moosey the family. Dry top when I dry down, acting hella savage like I'm Randy. I'm on 1,000, living my life like I don't get no hoots about plan B's. My life something like a Tahoe, yours something like a Camry, yeah.
How you feel about that? You think fatigue will be a factor for any of the stories?
Our questions later might be rough.
Okay.
Coach, Coach, obviously Memphis puts up a ton of points, plays with incredible pace. With you guys, with being on the back-to-back, how do you prepare for a team like that plays with such high energy regardless of their situation?
Well, I mean, them being on a back-to-back, us both playing against two high-paced teams, us in Atlanta, them in Indiana last night, I think it was a great preparation for us. So hence after the game, we talked about where we can be better. And that's because this team does run. They do offensive rebound, and they do a great job of getting to the free throw line and scoring points in the paint. So it was great preparation for tonight. So can we be better at those areas tonight will give us a chance against them.
After the game last night, I asked Paolo about free throws. Obviously, you guys won the game. He said you guys made enough to win, but you still missed 12, and he mentioned that you won't always be able to get away with that. How do you guys work on free throw shooting at this point in the season, or how do you go about addressing that, or what needs to happen to improve that?
I think it's just one of those things you got to focus on. You have to focus when you step up to the line, know how much work you've put in, and concentrate in that moment. One free throw at a time. Whatever your routine is, you have to stick to that and stick with that process in order to get the result that you want.
You mentioned playing a team, like Atlanta, like Memphis, that play at a high pace or play at a high possession count at least. How do you, as a team, kind of find the pace that you want to play at and kind of force them into the kind of tempo that you're looking for?
It starts on the defensive end, and number one is sprinting back. Whether no matter what shot is taken, sprinting back to allow them to play in the half court because you don't want to get into the back and forth game. Allow your stops to create your offense and not just cast up shots quickly and not get the ones that you want. So I think it's going to be more on the defensive end that we continue to focus on in order to get us some easy baskets on the other end.
Jet didn't play last night, but obviously I know there's some management between first night of a back-to-back, game situation, all that kind of stuff. How do you balance him being a second-year guy, still needing to get some on-court opportunities while, managing a game-by-game situation where rotations can change, especially at this point in the season?
I mean, rotations, as you know, have changed all year, and for whatever reason. Obviously, injuries have played a part in that. The schedule has played a part in that, in unexpected situations. And so guys need to know that they just have to stay ready. And I think that's a big thing for Jet is other guys that have not found their way in consistent rotation, but it's just enough to stay ready to know that your number is going to be called at some point.
When Jet gets those opportunities, is there something you're specifically looking for him to improve upon when he's out there on the floor for you?
No, the same thing we ask of all of our guys, the younger guys in this group, just being able to play the right way, defensively, guard your yard, contain the basketball, positional defense, and then offensively being able to share it, move it, and when you're open, let it fly.
Coach, Memphis ranked 6th in offense, and yet they run the fewest pick and rolls of any team in the league. What makes their wheel concept so hard to guard? J.J. Redick termed their offense that term where the entire lineup relocates around the perimeter as the ball penetrates the paint.
Wheel concept. If that's considered Ja Morant attacking the basket in transition and everybody getting out of the way and spacing to the three-point line, I'll take that as a wheel concept. So it's his ability to get downhill, Jaren Jackson's ability to get downhill, and people spacing out of the way. And whichever way they decide to go is just finding and relocating to find the three-point shots, which they do knock down threes as well. So letting a guy attack downhill and transition fast, quick, and spacing the floor to create room for him to get to the paint and find shooters. But wheel concept.
Coach, you talked about last night's win being a gritty and a gutsy one. To see the team have maybe their confidence and their swagger back, especially in the late game situations, how important is that type of energy and just to see that come back to this locker room as you guys come home?
I mean, and we've talked about it even prior to magic basketball, and you can feel that. Last night there was a big portion of it. When Paolo got going, Franz got going, we were able to get stops, get out and have runs. You saw the bench into it. There was activity and energy into it. I think that's what the guys have know what they're capable of doing, and I think that's what we felt last night. And I think that's so important, especially now being at home in those runs. Getting the energy and the fuel from the crowd in those moments is going to be very big for us tonight.
How's Jonathan? He was added late to an illness.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to come in the building and see how he's feeling in a little bit.
Jalen
is out again tonight.
Correct.
Is there a concern that this could last a few more weeks, or what? I know you guys don't like to talk about a timeline, but again, going back to the running up against a wall, how do you view the concern level with Jalen missing more time?
Yeah, and I'll tell you exactly what we talked about the other day in that same question. I do know there is definitely a timeline, and you can say you're up against a wall, but I also go back to the fact that this young man's career and his body is one of the most important things for this organization, and to try to press it up against a wall for him to walk on the floor and not be fully healthy and say something else happens, now you're up against a different wall, and that's the career. And I think the most important thing is that we have to trust his body and how he feels, and the way we're working together and what he's understanding and feeling in these moments. I think that's very important as well. And not going to rush someone back to something that's not 100% correct.
How will you start tonight?
Same as last night.
We talked last night about reinserting Wendell into the starting lineup a lot, but on the other side of that, Goga being on the bench as well. I know we touched briefly on it last night, but what do you like about his energy coming in with that second unit?
I think it's just that his energy, his fire, his charisma, his ability to make plays, being another playmaker. We've seen that with the first unit, and then when he gets in there with the second unit, just being able to play through him a lot of times, depending on how teams are playing. Other guys on the floor, but his ability to make to make the right read defensively as well as with that unit, he just does a great job.
Jamal, you guys go up against stars every single night in this league. Ja's obviously special with the way he is around the rim, being a small guy. What do you guys have to do to try to make him uncomfortable and get him out of his element?
I think it starts early in transition. You got to build a wall in front of him early. It's a 5-man job that you've got to make sure that he sees bodies early. Again, they do a great job. And to your point, I joke about the wheel, but it is very true. Like, they attack, they get downhill, they move, and they space. So you've got to make sure that you put a body in front of him early and then get out to those shooters. So now that he's not attacking right away and at the rim, you've got to make it tough tonight versus a wide open lane to the rim.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? Quick question. I know the All-Star break was just a week ago, but what have you told your players for the second half of the season? What's the goal for you guys?
Just lock in and focus in these last 25 games. I think that's a very important piece, understanding what you're trying to accomplish, but taking it one game at a time. Not looking too far ahead and not looking at the past games because this is an entirely new season. 25 games to understand how we have to focus on the game plan, how we need to approach each game, how we have to take care of our bodies, how we have to rest, and be ready for each game that comes up.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, everybody, Jake Chapman here. It is 5:37 on Friday, February 21st. The 7-game homestand kicks off tonight with the Memphis Grizzlies in Orlando coming off nice win last night in Atlanta, even up the season series. 1 game apiece, 114-108 was the final score. That was Brandon Kravitz. You can tweet at him if you would like to. Not exactly sure what his handle is. But we're trying out a little something new. Big shout out to Jason Dewberry. People are actually listening to this, Brandon. It's hot to the house here, big fella. Appreciate y'all for hopping on here on the Magic stream. We got, an hour and 32 minutes until tip-off. Should be a tough one tonight with Memphis in. They are probably a little salty after giving up 50 points last night in the second quarter in a loss to the Indiana Pacers. They've dropped 2 straight. But kind of a bounce-back season for this Memphis franchise, 36-19 on the year. Much better home team. They're 21-6 at home, and that was where we saw them at the beginning of the year. That was game number 3 on the season. So expectations were quite a bit different for both teams, I think, at that point. But we know who the Memphis Grizzlies are. Obviously, John Morant leads the attack, but really Jaren Jackson Jr. is the guy you need to focus on and lock in on this year. Obviously named to his second All-Star team. He's averaging almost 23 points a game. One of the best shot blockers in the league with the unfortunate injury to Victor Wembanyama that we found about yesterday. Looking like Jaren Jackson Jr. going to be one of the front runners for the Defensive Player of the Year award. So you got to make sure you lock in on him on both ends of the floor. And these guys, great rebounding team, obviously, with Jackson Jr. and then the rookie Zach Edey and a whole lot of size that they tried out there coming off the bench as well. Guys like Santi Aldama, 7-footer, who played very well back when we saw them in Memphis, the 3rd game of the season. You can lock into our broadcast tonight. We'll have the pregame show beginning at 6:30 on 96.9 The Game, or you can stream it wherever you may be listening and however you may listen on the Magic app or on the iHeart app within the listening distance here in Central Florida. And we're going to wrap it up. It's a little test run. Shout out to Jason Dewberry. No shout out to Brandon Kravitz for his very, very disparaging words, but hopefully the Magic able to get one tonight, kick off this homestand in a proper way, and we'll have a full 10, 15-minute preview coming up on Sunday with the Wizards in town. Thanks.
Colombian, Afro-Caribbean honeydew. Whipping out apes, no condiments. From Barranquilla, no argument. She going hard like a gallo. Don't care what they say, hella fight, no. I'm chilling with babe with my eyes closed. Got the champagne with my blindfolds. I'm on just flight in Miami, shopping and tripping with Mosley the family. Dry top when I dry down, acting hella savage like I'm Randy. I'm on 1,000, living my life like I don't get no hoots about plan B's. My life something like a Tahoe, yours something like a Camry, yeah.
Welcome into Courtside Countdown. I am your host, Kendra Douglas, and thank you for joining us today. Hopefully you guys are liking the streams that we're doing. I've been seeing a couple comments on the YouTube page about just what you guys are liking so far. So this is going to be our thing, and hopefully you guys love it. We're trying to give you guys more of a little bit behind the scenes, a little bit more of what's going on with the Orlando Magic. So we want to continue to show you what the guys are doing on the court to warm up, what I'm doing behind the scenes. We'll check in with Jake a little bit for our radio. And so this is an opportunity for you guys to kind of feel like you're here with us. And that's what we really, really want. We want you guys to feel like you are a part of the Magic atmosphere. So get excited because we still have so much more to come. And this is the opportunity also to subscribe to all of our channels, because if you watch the Orlando Magic group chat, I said we have something up our sleeves, and this is it. So continue to subscribe to our YouTube, our Twitter, our Instagram, our TikTok, everywhere, so that way you can continue to be on the up to date with everything going on with the Orlando Magic. All right, so let's get into this game. Tonight, the Magic, on the second night of a back-to-back, will take on the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, Memphis is also coming in on a back-to-back as well. They lost to the Indiana Pacers just last night. So both teams will have to, muster up that strength of what it feels like to play again on the second night of a back-to-back. So even playing field, I would say. But the question of the day that I have for you guys, for all of you Magic fans out there who are watching tonight's game and who is watching this live right now, here is my question for you. What will the Magic's record be for the post-All-Star break of the regular season? So we are now past the All-Star break. We've already won one, so you can already include one win in there. But what do you think the Magic's record is going to be? I want to make a note that the Magic went 17-10 after All-Star break last season to grab the number 5 seed. Right now they're in 7, and which is still in the play-in. So I'm curious, all you Magic fans out there, let me know, what do you think is going to be the overall record for the Magic after All-Star break? So we're already giving you one win. So now what do you think it's going to be? So let me know, and we'll kind of talk about it a little bit more. All right, I want to get to some questions before we get to the Atlanta Hawks game and just how magical that was to get back into a rhythm for this team. Someone asked, Fran's going to lock in today. No brainer. He's got to lock in today. He's locked in every day, and I think that he also, we'll get into this when we talk a little bit more about Memphis, but he does very well at three-point shooting against Memphis. So look for that, hopefully, for this team. We got Play the Song. The new stream are goated. I love that. Again, this is new for us. So I want to also say, bear with us. We're trying to figure it out. Let us know also what you want to see, because that helps me kind of give you guys a little bit more of the behind the scenes. So tell me what you also want to see as well when we do these streams. But ultimately, we plan on doing them for every home game, kind of giving you a really behind the scenes of what's going on. You'll hear from head coach Mosley. You'll see me talk to people around. We'll hear a little bit more from everybody. And again, it's just a way that we want to just bring you in and kind of get you to feel like you're a part of this Magic family, because you are a part of this Magic family. And then also, let's get to some injury stuff real quick. Of course, Jalen Suggs is still out. Head coach Mosley did address that if you were watching the stream, which I know some of you guys were, because I saw some of your comments. So you guys were watching the stream. Jalen Suggs is out. Jonathan Isaac, also due to illness, will not be playing in tonight's game. So that's something to also keep in mind. He was going to try to give it a go today, but just couldn't. So he is going to be out in tonight's game. Okay, let's get into the highlights of what went down against the Atlanta Hawks. It was a great night, I must say. First game back since the All-Star break, and the Magic came into that game with determination out the gate. Paolo scored within seconds of the game, but this was truly a game of two halves. The Magic trailed in the first half by 19, but then picked up defensively. Paolo mentioned before the half that he wanted to see this team get out quicker in a pace, limit the Hawks' fast break points. The Magic, they truly did turn it around after like last night. Paolo and Franz have each had 2 games this season with 30-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, 5-plus assists. It marks the first time in Orlando Magic history that a pair of teammates have both had multiple 30, 10, and 5 games this season. That is so insane and just amazing when you think about what these two are able to accomplish. Also, we got to talk about Wendell Carter Jr. in this game. 15 boards for him that night. it was just something where, like, he really just was in a zone too, and that's super helpful. And that's going to be also needed tonight against a team that also loves to rebound too. Cole Anthony, got to get to him too. Just help the Magic get the lead late in that fourth. Paolo called him a microwave, and Cole had those 2 back-to-back buckets that also led to a Paolo 3 to help get this team a win. Overall, just a great win for this Magic squad because they really needed it as we look to the end of the regular season. And here you can see the points right there. The Magic get this one 114 to 108, outscoring them in rebounds. Assists, of course, they gotta work on that a little bit, which they will, and we know that this Magic team will. And then also you can see from the free throw line, that is something that the team talked about yesterday night that they want to get better at. They left 12 points out there from the free throw line, so that is something that Paolo, Franz, all the guys, they want to get to the line, but they also have to make those shots. So that is something that is going to be continuously be worked on as we look ahead for the regular season. All right, I want to get to some of you guys' stuff. Hi, Jonathan Isaac. Hi. Oh, I don't think this is really Jonathan Isaac. Oh, I thought Jonathan Isaac. They said that this person pretended to be Jonathan Isaac. Come on now. Come on. Great win for the Magic. Yes. Great win for the Orlando Magic as they really could use this momentum, especially moving forward. I mean, we only have a couple more games left, 20 plus games left, and this is something that they really can use to move forward, especially going against a Grizzlies team tonight. Let's get into a little bit about Paolo and Franz's game. First up, Franz and what he was able to just accomplish last night. Ever since he's been coming back from his injury, he's really found a way to help this Magic team out. Of course, one of the 2 leaders, Franz finished with 25 points on the night, 7 rebounds. He led the team in scoring in the first quarter with 8 points. But it was also his playmaking ability that we saw shine throughout that night as well. 5 assists in that night to really help, facilitate as well in this game. Someone at O2 the Balls just said, make sure you give Cole Anthony his flowers for me. Of course, the microwave, like I just mentioned, great night performance for him as well to help this Magic team out. But Franz Wagner, as you can see right there, being able to just find a way to be open, be able to facilitate, be able to be a playmaker. His vision on the court has just grown so much. His playmaking ability too as well. It's so good to see how Franz is just the vocal leader in this team and the way he's able to help. And it's also really interesting to see when both him and Paolo are on the court, but then when they're not on the court together and how they're able to help lead that team. So here's his stats from that night. Or here's his stats this season. Averaging 25.1 points per game this season. Rebounds, a little more than 5, a little more than 4 assists. And he's also someone that knows how to get to the line, especially in the free throws. He's definitely, you remember that Utah game he had where majority of his points came from the line. He's definitely stepped up considerably in that. One guy who, of course, we also wanted to see have a great game, a bounce back game, if you would say, is Paolo Banchero. We got to talk about this guy and what he was able to accomplish last night against the Hawks. He had 18 points in the second quarter alone against the Hawks. A great job at getting to the line, and I know this team wants to clean that area up. And he mentioned that, that is something that he would like to work on too. But he did also do a good job at getting to the line. Right now, he's averaging 22 points per game in the month of February, which I think, you'll see continues to grow for him as he is continuing to get better, stronger, feel his legs. He mentioned that in the game that he was starting to feel his legs a little bit more, so that's also helpful. Those are his numbers so far this season. Averaging 23 points, rebounds 7, 5 assists. I expect those numbers to also change and increase as this team looks to make that final push in the regular season, especially going into the playoffs. So those are going to be some things to look out for with this team. All right, let's get to some questions, comments, and concerns. Paolo, let him cook. Exactly. We love to see him when he gets going. It was great to see him get going in that second half, and just to see him get 18 points alone in that quarter. I think that shows you just, when he's in a zone, you let him stay in that zone. We are at the beginning of the next great era of Magic basketball. I really enjoy your energy, Matt. Let's listen to that one. All right, who we got on the court in this one? Who do we have on here? We have Gary Harris on the court, all right, as he's getting ready for tonight's game. It'd be great to see him get some production in tonight's game too, as this is the second night of a back-to-back for the Magic team. You can see him, he's in the gray over there, getting ready to warm up. All right, let's see some more questions. Let's see some more comments. MSS says, yo, Kendra. Yo, what's up, everybody? Again, thank you for joining Courtside Countdown. This is the pregame show where we love to just kind of talk with you, the fans, get you interacting with us, of course. And don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to just be a part of this. But as you guys have mentioned or noticed, hopefully, those who are subscribed, we are doing a full stream. We are trying to get you guys more locked in with us. Let us know if you like it so far, because we really want to include you, the fans, in everything we do. So last night's game was great for this Magic team. And when you look at the Eastern standings and where they sit right now, still 7th in a play-in position, but that's where you want to kind of see them grow in this. So as you saw right there, Magic still 7, 28 and 29, but the Hawks, they moved down in this one. So that's also something to be said as well. I think what, is of course important is we've continued to say it and we've continued to mention it. This is a very favorable schedule for the Magic moving forward. So you hope that this win is something that will propel them to have a better showing in the second half. Let's check in with some of the players and how they felt about that win against the Atlanta Hawks.
They say we wasn't getting stops started the game, and so it was causing our offense to be really slow because we're grabbing it out the net every time, and we wasn't getting in our stuff quick. So just came to the bench, said we got to start getting stops, get out running, put some pressure on them, and then get to the next action after.
Well, I think we stopped turning it over. We allowed the stops to have us get out and run to get some easy baskets. We trusted our defense. Again, we got the win. I think it was a gutsy, gritty win, but we have to be better in these moments. You got to do better than shooting 68% from the free throw line. Giving them 28 free throws and then 15 offensive rebounds. Like, we've got to be better in these moments. Again, a gutsy win, but we've got to do the things better in these moments.
Remember that we was down 20, but we turned the defense up. That was the main thing. We got some timely stops. Second group, got a little momentum for us, and then into that second quarter, like the last 5-6 minutes, we were able to get some good possessions. We found something we liked, and we just kept working out of that.
All right, and of course now we have the one and only Dan Savage joining us. Dan, we just saw each other. We were just in Atlanta, and now we're back.
Less than 24 hours ago.
I know. Are you tired? How are you feeling?
Oh, yeah. Sleepy.
Yeah.
Punch drunk, whatever you want to call it.
Delusional.
And I imagine the Memphis Grizzlies are as well.
Yeah.
Because while we didn't arrive till 2 in the morning, the Memphis Grizzlies didn't arrive till 4 something.
And time change, right?
Yes, and time change. So it'll be an interesting game in the sense of who will come out and set the tone for this one. I think it's going to be so important because both teams had hard-fought games with big swings in them yesterday, and I think that who sets the tone tonight could really determine the outcome.
Yeah, before we get into the Memphis Grizzlies' last 5 games, I do want to mention we had the Eastern Conference standings up, and when you look at it, it looks like an easy shot for this Magic team, but you also, I think, have to remember the math and everything that goes behind it. So they're in the Southeast Division. You can't remember, if Atlanta gets this all, they can win the tiebreak. So it's a whole bunch of things that also come down to the wire, and why it's so important to get the wins against Atlanta Hawks and all them.
Oh, absolutely. You want to win all your division games, all your conference games, because those are teams you're competing against to move up. And look, 25 games left, some ground to make up for the Magic as they want to work their way out of the play-in, and then hopefully into a home court advantage situation. So there are no games to give away at this point. It's a very serious part of the season, and that's why you're looking at so many of the guys talking about the sense of urgency that they have to play with, because it's so pivotal the rest of the way, especially when you have to make up ground, which is 25 games to play.
Yeah, it sure is. But now that we are here and we have the Grizzlies practicing and warming up behind us, let's talk a little bit about just that team and what they've been able to accomplish this season. They have some heavy hitters on their teams. You got Zach Edey, of course, John Morant. And I mean, overall, this team, they're very talented in different areas, and they've been really great at the three-point shooting as of late, too.
No, I mean, when you look at things that they do well, they play with tremendous pace. They're at the top of the league in scoring points, top of the league in points in the paint. They crash the glass extremely well. Jaren Jackson Jr. is now probably the favorite for Defensive Player of the Year now that Victor Wembanyama had his unfortunate injury situation that we saw the other day. So all those are going to be factors for them. The Magic have to handle a lot of elements in order to come out with the victory tonight, and it's going to really be about the fundamentals and playing their brand of basketball.
Yeah, I want to get to Electrico. He said the keys to win: keep on the pressure. When we are up a few points or below, and 2, keep up our defense, and 3, have to have that Mamba mentality, aka wanting to win. So
I like all those.
I know.
I
yes.
like all those. All those will be pivotal tonight against a Memphis team that can put up points in a hurry. So, a 6-point, 8-point advantage against them doesn't mean too much. They can erase that in a quick hurry if you have a defensive lapse. So I think that's what Jamal Mosley preached on yesterday. It was like, look, that effort against Atlanta was enough to get a win against Atlanta.
Yeah.
But against the Memphis team that has 36 wins on the season,
yeah.
third best in the West, and has heavy hitters, as you mentioned, you're going to have to do a better job of clearing the glass. You can't have the early lapse that you had in Atlanta. And on top of that, you have to make your free throws and take advantage of the possession game.
Yeah, Coach Mosley talked about it and said it perfectly. You have to defend well, and you have to get back to the other side quick. Like, you have to do that. One person, of course, that you just mentioned, of course, Jaren Jackson Jr., and what he's been able to accomplish for this team. A good part of this, and a good part, he's playing a good role also in the shooting part, the three-point shooting. His three-point percentage ranks as the second best this month of his career. So he's also finding ways to help in that end.
No, he's a factor on both ends of the floor. And look, as I mentioned, Memphis plays with tremendous pace. You have Ja flying up down the court, and they just want to create space for him to operate.
Yeah.
And so if you have guys like Triple J going out there and knocking down threes, it creates a whole nother element, because then you have to find ways to defend Ja one-on-one, which, as we've seen throughout the history of this league, that's very hard to do. But the Magic have the athletes, the defensive throwouts to kind of pull that thing off. So it'll be interesting when guys like AB, Franz get on him in stretches. Can they defend him one-on-one so that way he could stay home to shooters? Because if you have to send extra help, it can end up being a long night if Memphis is knocking down their shots.
Of course, I know who Memphis Grizzly fans are here to see. We all know it. John Morant. And just his matchup against Orlando. It was interesting when I was looking a little bit into just John Morant. He's averaging 21 points per game this month. Against the Magic, Ja has performed pretty well in recent seasons. He has the second highest field goal percentage against the Magic, the first being the Spurs. So he does play very well against this Magic team.
Yeah, and it's hard to nail down exactly why, because the Magic have some great point-of-attack defenders, especially when Jalen Suggs is healthy. But his ability to be in transition, you can't have any lapses. He's had some great performances in Memphis. Hopefully the Kia Center crowd could be behind Orlando, give them the extra fuel they need to slow down Ja tonight.
You talk about Ja, and what he's able to accomplish. He's right behind us, so maybe he's hearing us, and we can say, slow down tonight, Ja.
I'll heap on all the praise, so that way he takes it down a notch.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want to do with a guy like him is give him extra fuel. He's a guy that'll rise to any occasion, which is no surprise why, maybe his numbers can be higher at times against the Magic, because you got guys like Jalen Suggs, who are all-world defenders. Jonathan Isaac, when he's healthy as well, all-world defenders that he wants to prove a point against.
I completely agree. I want to get to some comments and some concerns here. This is a good question. What do you think of the new P5 shoes? So his PE shoes. How great is it, though? It's a family affair tonight. His mom and dad are here in the arena. I don't know if he's wearing the shoes tonight, but I like them. When I talked with him about them, there's a nice heartfelt. Oh, wait. No, those aren't them. I'm looking. No, they're not them. He's on the court. Paolo's on the court right now, but those are not the shoes. Those are not his PEs. But what do you think? I like them. I think they really pay tribute to, just his Rotary team and life growing up in Seattle, and they all have a meaning. But I can say this, he's not done yet.
No,
There's more to
I mean,
come.
I'm just trying to figure out how we could get a pair.
I know.
I think that P5 should outfit us with some shoes.
Yes.
So on the Courtside Countdown pregame,
we
could rock them.
Yes.
I'll sell out for that. Those were pretty nice. Now, what I like about him is that they, have a tie into his home base.
Yeah.
There's meaning behind him. It was obviously very well thought out, just like with everything P5 does.
Mm-hmm.
Very well thought out process. So, paying tribute, we saw even with his suit that he wore on draft night, back to his family and all that. He does everything with meaning behind it, and I think that's what you have to like about the shoes as well.
Another question, Mr. Savage, was what's the most impressive part about Paolo's game last night, in your opinion?
What I really liked is that in stretches, I thought the Magic coaches did a really good job of putting him in motion, getting him going to the basket, moving, and they found different ways to do that, and I think that's going to have to be effective long-term because if he's ISO'd just at the top, we're seeing teams send doubles. They're selling out. They're daring the Magic's other shooters to make shots. So the Magic coaches found interesting ways to get him moving to the basket before he got the basketball. So that way he's already in motion when the ball gets in his hands. And we know that if he's playing with head of steam to the basket, he's very hard to stop.
And we also know that this Memphis team is a team that's very fast-paced. They love getting back into it. So that is also something that Mosley talked a little bit about. And I think you saw that in the second half of the Atlanta Hawks game. But they are going to have to turn it up a little bit more defensively with their intensity as well going against the Grizzlies.
No, the big thing you don't want to do is obviously, number one, you don't want to give him easy transition baskets.
Right.
Because Memphis plays with tremendous pace. Now, the second thing you don't want to do is start fouling them. Because if they're getting to the basket and they're slowing down and they're playing that type of game, then you're facing their set defense. Well, you got shot blockers on the other end like Jaren Jackson. You got guys like Zach Edey who are top defenders. So then if you have those guys blocking the basket, clogging the paint, it makes it even more troublesome for guys like Paolo and Franz who are trying to weave their way into the basket in the painted area, which we saw them be so effective against Atlanta with. So for the Magic, it's going to have to be playing top-end transition defense, creating stops, and then getting easy offensive opportunities on the other end because that's been their formula of success all year, all season long.
All right, Dan, let's get to your storylines for the day. Let's see. Tell me a little bit about them.
Number one, prepare for the pace. We've touched on that. Memphis, number one team in the NBA with pace, number one in points scored per game. Number two, clean the glass. Memphis top three in rebounding. They're top three in points in the paint. They do a lot of things well in the painted area, and you got to clean the glass as well. Memphis is a top rebounding team, top second chance points team. They excel in a lot of areas, so protecting the paint, cleaning the glass against them is paramount because you don't want to get stops and then have the deflating feeling of giving up a second chance point against them because it's hard enough to stop Ja. You don't want to give guys like Zach Edey, Jaren Jackson Jr. second chance opportunities to really make you pay and demoralize your defense.
Yeah, I love what you said right there about clean the glass. That was something that they mentioned when you were looking at some of their stats. This is a Grizzlies team that loves to crash the glass, and this is also, but stats are showing that the Magic are facilitating that more as well. So it should be a battle of the boards tonight, and you want to see that tonight from this team.
No, you look at Memphis's loss to Indiana last night. The Magic and Grizzlies did not play each other last night, but it was very similar games. Memphis went out to an early lead against Indiana, just as Atlanta did against Orlando. But the second quarter was the turning point in both those games. Indiana scored 50 points in the second quarter against Memphis. Can the Magic have a similar second quarter tonight where they really turn it on going to halftime and make Memphis think about what kind of effort they're going to put into the second half on the second night of a back-to-back where they didn't arrive till 4 a.m?
As you can see right there, this season, this is the comparison against both teams. I want to get to some of the comments so far. They are so big up front with Edey and Jackson for sure. They have to get out to a good start. It's tough to fight from behind against a team like Memphis. I completely
100%
agree with you on that one. Another, Annie mentioned, for our stream, that there was footage of me and the studio guys hanging out, but there was no audio. Annie, I got you, girlfriend. I also love that too. We are trying our best to figure it out. Like I said, work with us because we want you guys to get those behind the scenes. I'm trying to make Dan Savage do a little bit more behind the scenes stuff too with us, but we got you, Annie. We got you. And then Memphis is going to give us a game, and we have to be ready. This Magic team has to be ready to go against Memphis. Even though it is the second night of the back-to-back, they have no guys that are sitting out in this one, which sometimes you might see here and there. Everyone is playing so far in this one.
Yes, correct. So, yeah, you got to be ready for a full head of steam with this Memphis Grizzlies team. Has all their starters in place and are ready to go downhill and attack from the jump because that's how they play.
Final thoughts for tonight's game. What are you just hoping that this Magic team can do here at the Kia Center? Guys, this is game 1 of 7, I believe. Like, we are home. We are home for a little bit.
I like it.
So, yeah, me too.
I have a lot of laundry to do from all these road trips.
Me too.
That has to get taken care of, some dry cleaning done. So hope to do that. But no, from last night I saw there are 3 things I'd like to see this team do again. 1, get Paolo moving in motion.
Yeah.
When they're playing and getting him in the ball in the half court like I talked about with him in motion headed towards the basket, 1, it helps him excel. He had a big performance last night like that. But 2, it prevents turnovers and it gets Memphis slowed down a little bit and makes them work on the defensive end. So I like that aspect. Want to see that again. The Magic need one of their role players outside of Franz and Paolo to put up points.
Yeah.
We saw that last night with Cole Anthony.
Yes.
Can he continue with that head of steam? Because that's big. If not, can Anthony Black do it? Because when
Yes.
AB has had big games, this Magic team's been successful. And number 3, with Wendell Carter Jr. in the starting lineup, I thought he was extremely active last night.
Right.
Set the tone for the type of Dell
He
that
did.
you want to see for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
If he continues to play that way, I expect big things for this Magic team.
I agree wholeheartedly on everything you just said. Here is the upcoming schedule for the Orlando Magic. On Sunday, the Magic will be taking on the Washington Wizards. First time they're seeing this team as well. Then they'll take on Cleveland, and then they will take on Golden State. 2 hard teams right there.
Give me that Cleveland playoff rematch.
Oh, my God. Don't give me that.
Want to see this building ready for that.
I've got PTSD. It's a lot. But no, I love the energy that this Magic team comes against Cleveland. It's a forceful nature of, like, we want to get a win against this team.
Look, we even see it with the ancillary pieces that have since moved on, like Niang with last night
Yes.
with Paolo.
Oh,
there is no love lost
There
between
isn't.
those 2 teams. So that's a matchup. If I were a Magic fan, I'd be circling and trying to find my way into Kia Center for.
Oh, yes. Yes. I love the way that Paolo and Yang went at it. All right, guys, that will do it for us on Courtside Countdown. Now here is your chance to head over to FanDuel Sports Network so you can join Dante Marcatelli and the team from Magic Live, the pregame show, as they get you ready for tonight's game. And then tonight's game against the Memphis Grizzlies will tip off tonight at 7 p.m. So make sure that you guys are locking in tonight's game because the Magic, second night of a back-to-back, they're looking to get a win. They're looking to start this homestand off with a great start right here. We love it. Thank you for joining us. We will be back, of course, on Sunday. So make sure you lock in.